He says, وَالنِّسَاءُ فِيهِ ضَرْبَانِ. The women concerning it, meaning concerning divorce, are of two types. Then continues on to the next page at the top here. ضرب في طلاقهن سنة وبدعة. One type, there pertains to divorcing them, or there is in divorcing them a prophetic way and a non-prophetic way, anti-prophetic way. Some people translated it as non-canonical, means doesn't comply with the rules. We'll see when we read the explanation. وَهُنَّ ذَوَاتُ الْحَيْضِ. Those ones are the women who have menses. فالسنة أن يوقع الطلاق في طهر غير مجامع فيه. The prophetic way of divorce is to make the divorce fall during a purity time, that means she's not menstruating, that did not have sexual intercourse. A purity time that lacked sexual intercourse. So it means she was not menstruating and he did not have intercourse with her during that non-menstruating time, then he can divorce her at this time. وَالْبِدْعَةُ أَنْ يُوقِعَ الطَّلَاقَ فِي الْحَيْضِ أو في طهر جامعها فيه. And the anti-prophetic way is to make the divorce fall during menses, so to divorce her while she's menstruating, or during purity in which he had sexual intercourse with her. So it's not permissible to divorce her under these circumstances. But it's valid, as we're going to see. This is a case where impermissibility and validity come together. Usually when something is not permissible, it's also not valid. But sometimes something could be impermissible, but still valid. Here's one of those. It is not permissible for him to divorce her while she's menstruating, nor is it permissible to divorce her while she's not menstruating, but they had intercourse during that time. But if he did divorce her, the divorce takes place. So it's valid, but it's not permissible. وَضَرْبٌ لَيْسَ فِي طَلَاقِهِنَّ سُنَّةٌ وَبِدْعَةٌ. And another type of woman, there is not concerning divorcing them a prophetic way, nor an anti-prophetic way. Meaning this whether they're menstruating or you had sexual intercourse with them, this doesn't apply. وَهُنَّ أَرْبَعٌ. Those are four. الصغيرة والآيسة والحامل والمختلعة التي لم يدخل بها. Okay. So he said, and then there's another type of woman. Divorcing them does not have a prophetic way, nor an anti-prophetic way. وَهُنَّ أَرْبَعٌ. There are four of them. الصغيرة والآيسة والحامل والمختلعة التي لم يدخل بها. The girl, the menopausal woman, the pregnant woman, and the divorced woman whose marriage he never consummated with her. A woman, he married her and divorced her without consummating. Okay. So that's just the bare text of Abu Shuja. Let's check out the explanation now. So, Ibn Qasim, the explainer, rahimahullah, he says, وَالنِّسَاءُ فِيهِ أي الطلاق ضربان. The women concerning it, meaning divorce, are of two types. ضرب في طلاقهن سنة وبدعة. A type that their divorce has a prophetic way or an anti-prophetic way. وهن ذوات الحيض. They are the women who have menses. So here, dhawat means those who have. That's feminine though. Those who have, those women who have, or those females who have al-hayd, menstruation. وأراد المصنف بالسنة الطلاق الجائز. And what the author meant by a divorce that has a prophetic way, a sunnah, is not to say it's recommended to divorce per se, but to say it's a permissible divorce, meaning actually more, meaning it's the proper procedure to do the divorce. Yani, if he divorced her in the prophetic way, still could be disliked for him to do it. Still could be that better for him not to do it. But if he did it the prophetic way, his procedure was correct. We're going to see, inshallah, some of the situations where it's recommended to divorce the woman or not to, is better, yani is disliked to divorce her, or is indifferent whether you divorced her or not. We'll see. Inshallah. وَبِالْبِدْعَةِ طَلَاقَ الْحَرَامِ. And what he meant by, so the Arabic word is bid'ah, that usually means innovation. Religiously, this word bid'ah is used to be contrary or to mean contrary to the prophetic way. That's why I'm saying anti-prophetic way. A procedure that is contrary to the prophetic way of divorce. So what the author meant was at-talaq al-haram, a forbidden divorce, but it's valid. It's forbidden, but it's valid. فالسنة أن يوقع الزوج الطلاق في طهر غير مجامع فيه. So the prophetic way is for the husband to make the divorce fall in a purity time without having intercourse with his wife during that purity time. So just to say it that way means we are negating two things. We're negating that he divorced her while she was menstruating, and we are negating that he divorced her while she's not menstruating, but they had intercourse. So the prophetic procedure here, if she's a menstruating woman, is to divorce her in a pure period without having intercourse with her. والبدعة أن يوقع الزوج الطلاق في الحيض أو في طهر جامعها فيه. And the anti-prophetic way is for the husband to make the divorce fall during menses or during a purity time in which he had intercourse with her. Ahlan wa sahlan, everyone. MashaAllah. Glad to see you all. Okay, I think that's all clear for you. Does anyone have any questions so far? Alhamdulillah. The explainer goes on. وَضَرْبٌ لَيْسَ فِي طَلَاقِهِنَّ سُنَّةٌ وَلَا بِدْعَةٌ. And there's another kind of woman. There is not in their divorce a prophetic way, nor an anti-prophetic way. وَهُنَّ أَرْبَعٌ. There are four of them. الصغيرة, the girl. What's meant is she has yet to menstruate. So then there's no menses for him to observe or avoid or wait for it to go off or etc. So then he can divorce her at any time. Wal Aisa, and the menopausal woman. So Aisa means, in a literal sense, hopeless. It means she does not expect to menstruate anymore. وهي التي انقطع حيضها. She is the one whose menses has stopped. So, meaning, then what? She doesn't menstruate. There is no menses for him to have to observe, to wait for, or etc. So then he can divorce her at any time. Walhamil, and the pregnant woman. Now, the strong saying is that a pregnant woman can menstruate. The scholars differed. Can a pregnant woman menstruate or not? Can a pregnant woman menstruate or not? Some said no. We're going by the saying, though, that yes, she can, meaning if she saw vaginal bleeding, we're going to say it's menses. Okay, so then she doesn't have a prophetic way of divorcing her or an anti-prophetic way of divorcing her. No, just by being pregnant takes her out of the category of being a menstruating woman, technically. Takes her out of the technical category of being a menstruating woman, even if she experiences menstruation while pregnant. So while she's pregnant, then she is outside of the technical category of menstruating woman. And there is no prophetic way of divorcing her or anti prophetic way of divorcing her. Yani, he can divorce her at any time. And this is one of those cases where a person might assume something, and the religion is not by our assumptions. The religion is not by our opinions. One would assume maybe and say, let's say he never heard what's correct, and then someone asked him, can you divorce a pregnant woman? So he might say, no. Where did he get that from? From his own delusions. That's what he thinks the rule should be. That's how some people are. So they answer according to what they think the rule should be. What did Imam Ali say? He said, had the religion been by opinion, we would have wiped on the bottom of the khuf instead of the top. But I saw the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam wiping upon the top, not by opinion. وَالْمُخْتَلِعَةُ الَّتِي لَمْ يَدْخُلْ بِهَا الزَّوْجِ, and the divorced woman that he never had intercourse with her. He did not consummate this marriage. He married her without consummating. And so then, even if she's a menstruating woman, since he never consummated, then he can divorce her at any time. And this one in particular won't have any iddah. She won't have any iddah. If a woman was married and then her marriage was never consummated, and then she was divorced, she has no iddah, she can turn around, marry another man same day, same moment, and the very next moment, for example. Now, the wording here of the text, al-mukhtali'ah, what's meant here is he divorced her. And it doesn't mean he gave her khula' per se, yani, as far as the rule is concerned. What the author meant, we can see what the author meant. But the rule is that he divorced her, not that he did a khula' with her per se. And not to mention that a khula', in the strong saying of the Shafi'i school, it's a divorce. Just a specialized one. Okay. Any question here? Now the explainer gives us some extra information that is not tied to the text itself. Yeah, he gave us more information beyond what's in the text. And so he said, وَيَنْقَسِمُ الطَّلَاقُ بِاعْتِبَارٍ آخَرٍ, and divorce is also divided by another way, by another regard. Yani, you can categorize divorce in another way. إِلَى wajib, like, yani, it's divided into obligatory. كَطَلَاقِ, says here, al-mawla. I thought that's it says al-mawla, it's supposed to be al-muli. Hold on. كطلاق المولي. يعني, so the obligatory one is like the divorce of the person who fell into the case of ila. If you remember from Book of Marriage Level 1, which you studied, inshallah, that's the case of, can someone tell us? What's the case of Ela? Five, four, three, two, one. The case of Ela is when a man swears not to have intercourse with his wife. Absolutely. Yani, absolutely means he doesn't say, I swear to not have intercourse with you today. That's not absolutely. Or for the next week. That's not absolutely. Rather, absolutely is like if he said, I swear to not have intercourse with you. So that's absolutely there. Or if he specified a time that exceeds 4 months, then he's a muli. He's a muli. This means someone who swore in a literal sense. Someone who swore. So in this case, she can take him to court, yani take him to the Muslim judge, and the Muslim judge will force him to divorce or pronounce the divorce. Yeah, Ela. You can spell it this way if you want: Eelaa, and then apostrophe. Ela. He said, "Isn't that dislike to divorce a woman while she is pregnant?" I haven't heard that is dislike to divorce her while she's pregnant. When I say I haven't heard, it means I'm not saying yes or no. Wamandub, or it could be recommended. Divorce could be recommended. Muli, you spelt it right there, Habibi. كطلاق امرأة غير مستقيمة الحال. You're welcome. Like what? What's a recommended divorce? Like divorcing a woman whose case is not straight. Yeah, she's not good. كسيء الخلق. كسيئة الخلق. Like an ill-mannered woman, rude woman, or she doesn't pray, for example. ومكروه, or a divorce could be disliked. كطلاق مستقيمة الحال, like divorcing a woman with a straight situation. Yani, she's a good woman. وحرام, and it could be a forbidden divorce. كطلاق البدعة, like the anti-prophetic way divorce. The divorce that is done in the yani, contrary to the prophetic way. وقد سبق, and that's already been preceded now. وأشار الإمام للطلاق المباح, and Imam al-Haramain, the one whom the Shafi'is call merely the Imam, as an indication of how great of a scholar he is. That's not a Shafi'i here. This is Imam al-Haramain, and this is a term of the Shafi'is. They call this particular scholar, the Imam. He pointed out a permissible divorce, yani an indifferent divorce. What is that according to him? بطلاق من لا يهواها الزوج ولا تسمح نفسه بمؤنتها بلا استمتاع بها. That is according to him, divorcing a woman that the husband does not desire and his self is not comfortable with supporting her without enjoying her. And he doesn't touch her. And he doesn't prefer her. And yet he pays for her, and he doesn't want to pay for her without being intimate with her, but he's not intimate with her. So this one, he could divorce her or not divorce her. But don't forget, as long as she makes herself available to him, he has to provide for her, whether he touches her or not. And that's the end of that section. And then there's a section coming up about the divorces of a freeman versus the divorces of a slave man. I can read the text for you. And so Abu Shuja said, Rahimahullah, Fasul, section, وَيَمْلِكُ الْحُرُّ ثَلَاثَ تَطْلِيقَاتٍ. The freeman possesses 3 divorces. وَالْعَبْدُ تَطْلِيقَتَيْن. And the slave man, 2 divorces. Okay. So, then, if a man has 3 divorces, how many returns does he have? Tell me. If a man has 3 divorces, how many returns would he have?
How many times he divorced her?
None. No returns.
If it is 3, if divorce her, it is 3, nothing left.
Yani, I'm saying, I'm not saying if he used 3. I'm saying if he has 3. Not that he used 3, he has 3. If he has 3 divorces, how many returns does he have? 2. Correct answer. And therefore, the slave man, if he has 2 divorces, how many returns does he have?
1.
1. ويصح الاستثناء في الطلاق إذا وصله به. And making an exclusion or an exception from the divorce is valid when one connects it to the divorce statement, when one connects the exception to the divorce statement. So it means he says, I divorced my wife 3 times, except 2. Then that's valid. Or anything like that. That's being connected. What if it's not connected, like he said, I divorced my wife 3 times. And then the next day he said, except 2. So that's not valid because it's not connected. And if you were to ask, why would somebody talk like that? I would say to you, it's not so much a matter of a person talking like that as much as it is a case of the established religious rules. Based on those religious rules, if we suppose that a person would talk like that, then this would be the rule. That his exception will be valid as long as it's connected to the statement. And then somebody's going to mess around and talk like that, and then you're going to know the judgment. And you're still going to wonder why he's talking like that. وَيَصِحُّ تَعْلِيقُهُ بِالصِّفَةِ وَالشَّرْطِ. And it is valid to make the divorce contingent, hinged, dependent upon a description or a condition. Like he says, if you do such and such, you are divorced. Or if such and such happens, you are divorced. This is valid. وَلَا يَقَعُ الطَّلَاقُ قَبْلَ النِّكَاحِ. And divorce does not occur before marriage. Yeah, you can't divorce a woman you didn't marry yet. Just like you can't sell something that you never purchased. You don't own it yet. How are you going to sell it? You can't divorce a woman that you haven't married yet. Okay. Here's the explanation. فصل في طلاق الحر والعبد وغير ذلك. Section about the divorce of the freeman and that of the slave and some other matters covered by this section. ويملك الزوج الحر على زوجته ولو كانت أمة 3 تطليقات. The husband, the free husband, possesses over his wife, even if she were a slave, 3 divorces. Even if his wife were a slave, does this mean his own slave? وَلَوْ كَانَتْ أَمَةً. Even if she were a slave, does this mean his own slave, the husband's own slave? The answer is no. You cannot, correct. You cannot own your wife. It's not valid. So if his wife is a slave, means for sure means another man's slave. So then means this woman has over her 2 men, a husband and a master. So it's possible for a master to have what? A married slave woman. Then he cannot see what's between her navel and her knees. The master, that is. This free husband has 3 divorces. وَيَمْلِكُ الْعَبْدُ عَلَيْهَا تَطْلِيقَتَيْنِ فَقَطُ. And the slave has over her 2 divorces only. حُرَّةً كَانَتِ الزَّوْجَةُ أَوْ أَمَةً. whether the wife were free or a slave. So that means this slave man could possibly be married to a free woman, yani, or a slave woman. Then it's still going to mean someone else owns this slave woman. Maybe his own master owns that slave woman. والمبعض والمكاتب والمدبر كالعبد القن. And the part-time slave and the slave with a contract to purchase his freedom from his master, and the slave whose freedom depends on his master's death. That means the master said, when I die, you are free. So as long as he doesn't sell him before that or give him away before that, for example, then when he dies, when that master dies, then the slave would be free. But in this case, all of these different kinds of slave are like al-abdul qin, the regular serf, a regular old slave. Each one of these in this issue is like a regular old slave, meaning he gets 2 divorces, not more. ويصح الاستثناء في الطلاق إذا وصله به. And making an exception in the divorce is valid when one connects it to it. أي وصل الزوج لفظ المستثنى بالمستثنى منه اتصالا عرفيا, meaning the husband connected the excluded expression to what it's excluded from with a normal connection. Yani, we have a statement. You say, for example, I will give you money. Okay. But if I say accept something, but if I said I won't give you money, how about put the negation there? Makes it a little easier for me. What if I said I won't? I won't give you money except $5. So this part, except $5, that's the exception. And it's connected directly to the sentence. Now, this actually confirms that I will give you money, just a limited amount. This example that I gave you. I won't give you money except $5 confirms that I will give you a limited amount of money. So likewise, if a man said, I divorced my wife 3 times, except 2, then as long as that exception is connected to the divorce statement in a normal way, it's valid. بأن يعد في العرف كلاما واحدا, such that the exception is counted with what it's being excluded from, normally counted as the same talk. It's normally counted as the same talk. So if he said, I divorced my wife 3 times except 2, that's normal. Normal talk. Normal connection of the exception. And what's another example? You do not, yani, you do not will unless, yani, except if Allah wills. You don't will unless if Allah wills, or unless Allah wills. So as long as the exception is connected to what it's being excluded from in a normal way, it's valid. You don't will unless Allah wills. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. And likewise, you say, no one is God except Allah. No God except Allah. So as long as the exception is connected to the statement in a normal way, it's valid. Okay, that's very clear now. So same thing in the divorce. ويشترط أيضا عدم استغراق المستثنى منه. Also, another condition is that the exception is not the exact amount of what it's being excluded from. It's a condition for the exception to be valid, that the exception does not engulf the entire thing it's excluded from. Meaning, if he said, my wife is divorced 3 times, except 3, so what does that do? That invalidates the exception, and she will be divorced 3 times. So it doesn't mean zero. Saying my wife is divorced 3 times except 3 does not mean my wife is not divorced. It means she is divorced 3 times. فإن استغرق كأنت طالق ثلاثا إلا ثلاثة. So if it were an encompassing number, like for him to say, you are divorced 3 times except 3, بطل الاستثناء, then the exception itself is invalid. So that means then she's divorced 3 times. ويصح تعليقه أي الطلاق بالصفة والشرط. And it is valid for it to be linked to, for the divorce that is, a talaq, for the divorce to be linked to بالصفة والشرط, to a description or a condition. كإن دخلت الدار فأنت طالق. Like, if you enter the house, you are divorced. فَتَطْلُقُ إِذَا دَخَلَتْ. So then she'll be divorced if she enters. This is a way for the man to attempt to get control of some situation. Something that he doesn't want his wife to do. So he makes her divorce contingent upon her doing it so that she won't do it. So then that's an option. But on the other hand, if he uses this way, he does give her a way to get out of the marriage. وَالطَّلَاقُ لَا يَقَعُ إِلَّا عَلَى زَوْجَهِ. And a divorce would not occur to anyone but a wife. وَحِينَئِذٍ لَا يَقَعُ الطَّلَاقُ قَبْلَ النِّكَاحِ. And therefore, a divorce would not occur before marriage. Just like you can't sell something before you own it, or give it away as a gift before you own it. فَلَا يَصِحُّ طَلَاقُ الْأَجْنَبِيَّةِ تَنْجِيزًا. So then, therefore, the divorce of some woman who's not one's wife is not immediately valid. كقوله لها طلقتك, like for him to say to her, I divorce you. It won't be valid. It's like he's wasting his breath. ولا تعليق, nor would a conditional divorce be valid for a woman that he hasn't married. كقوله لها إن تزوجتك فأنت طالق, like for him to say, if I marry you, then you are divorced. This statement is invalid. If he marries her, she's not divorced. وإن تزوجت فلانة فهي طالق. Or like for him to say, if I marry fulana, then she's divorced. This is not valid. So if he marries her, she's not divorced. Any question? Abu Shuja goes on to say, here's just the bare metin, the bare text. وَأَرْبَعٌ لَا يَقَعُ طَلَاقُهُمْ. There are 4 whose divorce does not take place. الصَّبِيُّ وَالْمَجْنُونُ وَالنَّائِمُ وَالْمُكْرَهُ. The child, the insane, the sleeping one, and the forced one. وَأَرْبَعٌ, here's the explanation. Here's the explanation. وَأَرْبَعٌ لَا يَقَعُ طَلَاقُهُمْ. There are 4 whose divorce does not take place. الصَّبِي, the child. How could that be in the first place? A man has a son who's a child, and as his guardian, conducted a marriage contract on his behalf and got his son married. So his son is married. So his son, before reaching puberty, said to his wife, you're divorced. It's not valid. وَالْمَجْنُونَ, and the insane. وَفِي مَعْنَاهُ الْمُغْمَى عَلَيْهِ. And having the same meaning as the insane is the comatose one, meaning the one who fainted or he's in a coma. So he fainted or he's in a coma and he said, my wife is divorced. So that's not valid. Or he was crazy and he said, my wife is divorced. That's not valid. وَالنَّائِمُ, and the sleeping person, وَالْمُكْرَهُ, and the forced or the coerced person. أي بغير حق, meaning the one who's unrightfully coerced. Sometimes it's valid, it's rightful to coerce a person to do something. Like in the case of a judge, sometimes a judge he will coerce a person to do something. It will be valid because he won't do it otherwise. So the judge has to force him. فَإِنْ كَانَ بِحَقٍ وَقَعَ, if the divorce were, if he were forced, rightfully forced to divorce, then the divorce will be valid. وَصُورَتُهُ كَمَا قَالَ جَمْعٌ, a scenario of that, like some scholars said, is إكراه القاضي للمولي للمولي إكراه القاضي للمولي بعد مدة الإيلاء على الطلاق. A judge forcing a man who swore to abstain from his wife after the duration of the swear. Yani, according to that chapter, that has its own chapter, it's upcoming. We went over it already in level 1. We're in level 2 now. It's going to come, inshallah. وَشَرْطُ الْإِكْرَاهِ قُدْرَةُ الْمُكْرِهِ, and the condition for the compulsion is for the compeller to be able to, it's for the compeller to be able. Yani, he's an able compeller. Yani, he's able to force you. بكسر الراء على تحقيق ما هدد به المكره. Yani, able to do whatever he threatened the coerced one with. بفتحها بولاية أو تغلب. How would he be able to force this one? He might have power, like political power. Or he might have brute strength. Yani, pure physical intimidation, for example. وعجز المكره بفتح الراء عن دفع المكره. And also a condition is that the compelled person is unable to defend himself from the compeller. بهرب منه, by the likes of running away from him. أو استغاثة بمن يخلصه, or for example seeking the help of someone who will spare him of the harm of that compeller. ونحو ذلك, and the like. وظنه أنه إن امتنع مما أكره عليه فعل ما خوفه به. And also another condition is that the one who's being compelled, he thinks that if he does not comply, that the compeller will do whatever he threatened him to do. Yani, he doesn't think he's bluffing. A condition is that the one who's being compelled doesn't think that the compeller is bluffing. ويحصل الإكراه بالتخويف بضرب شديد, and the compulsion in this case of divorce and in other cases less than blasphemy, the compulsion is verified, is valid by frightening someone, yani threatening him, بضرب شديد, to beat him severely, أو حبس, or to imprison him or detain him, أو إتلاف مال, or to destroy his property, ونحو ذلك, and the likes of that. وإذا ظهر من المكره قرينة اختيار. And when there appears from the forced one any sign of acting autonomously, yani, that he's not acting by being forced, anytime there's a sign that appears that he is choosing بأن أكره شخص على طلاق ثلاث, like for example, a man was forced to divorce his wife 3 times, فطلق واحدة, so then he divorced her 1 time, وقع الطلاق, that divorce will take place because that's not what he was threatened to do. So then he did it by volition. وإذا صدر تعليق الطلاق بصفة من مكلف, and when a conditional divorce is issued by an accountable person, ووجدت تلك الصفة في غير تكليف, فإن الطلاق المعلق بها يقع بها والسكران ينفذ طلاقه كما سبق. And as for the divorce of a person who lost his mind by sinful drinking, it is valid out of strictness against him and to punish him. Wallahu alam. Next section is raj'iyah, returning the returnable woman. But let's definitely stop here. Barakallahu fikum. Do you have any question I can answer for you?
Check that last one, but
Yeah.
say that again.
Say that again.
Yes.
No, can you repeat your question, please?
The last statement you said. Can you say that again about the intoxicated ones?
Yeah. The intoxicated one who lost his mind is the meaning here. When we say intoxicated here, we mean he lost his mind. If he did that sinfully, like he knew that what he is consuming makes the mind go away, then if he divorced his wife while his mind was gone due to sinful drunkenness, then the divorce takes place out of strictness with him and to punish him.
Got it.
Question. Oh, okay. Barakallahu feek. Question: would one marrying a second wife be considered sunnah? Not absolutely. Not absolutely. We don't say it's always sunnah to have more than one wife. And we don't say it's always sunnah to have one wife. Some people say one wife is sunnah based on an ayah in the Quran. And some people say more than one wife is sunnah based on what they know of the Prophet's situation, alayhi salatu wassalam, as well as the situation of the 4 caliphs after the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam. Nevertheless, that the sunniyah of it depends on his situation. Any other? Wa alaikum assalam.
Sheikh, in a situation where someone tries to, they have influence and they're trying to force a man to divorce his wife, can he kill him?
Can he kill him for trying to force him
Like
to
if he,
divorce?
because he's threatening him, like if he gave him a threat, like if you don't divorce your wife, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to have somebody kill you. Because why would he be scared? Like, because he, I don't.
Or he might be scared because he's a weakling, or he might be scared because that other one is really vicious. Maybe he is really mean, unapproachable, harmful person, a tyrant,
Right.
transgressor. The Sheikh told a story about a man who actually took another man's wife. He took another man's wife. Subhanallah.
So is he able to fight for his wife?
He could fight for his wife if he's able to, though.
I mean, yeah, if he's able.
Yeah, he might not be able to.
Yeah. Barakallahu feek.
I mean, Wafiq. May Allah protect us. I mean. طيب. سبحان الله وبحمده.